May 19th, 2026 edition of the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals. All participating zoning board members are participating remotely. That would be Greg Tanzi, myself, Rob Rosa. That would be Robert Baker Jr. That would be Stephen Galley, and Vice President or Vice Chair Robert Baker Sr. At this point, I should make sure that everybody knows that we are recording this and we are live streaming. So with that, I would entertain.
Are you muted?
Your new computer stinks.
Oh, no, somebody else did that. That wasn't me.
Someone muted you?
Yeah, the host, it said the host did. I got a thing. It was accidental. It's not a big deal. So just to make sure we got all this, we are being recorded and we are live streaming. So I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I got a motion. Do I get a second?
Second.
I got a second. Roll call. Mr. Tanzi? I'll come back to you. Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.?
Yes.
Mr. Galley?
Yes.
And Mr. Baker Sr.?
Yes.
And Mr. Tanzi?
Yes.
Okay. And just as a double check, I don't know where the muting came in. All zoning board members that are participating remotely. That again would be Greg Tanzi, myself, Rob Rosa. That would be Robert Baker Jr. That would be Mr. Stephen Galley and Mr. Robert Baker Sr. Okay, so we've got an open. Let's talk about minutes. Everybody look at them. Everybody happy?
Yes.
Changes? Anybody?
No, they were very well done.
Hearing none, I would make a motion to approve the minutes from May 5th, 2026 as written.
Second.
I got a second. Roll call. Mr. Tanzi?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.?
I will abstain. I was not present for that meeting.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Galley?
Yes.
And Mr. Baker Sr.?
Yes.
And it's approved. All right. Are we at 7:35? Nope. 2 minutes. Sorry, I went too fast. So, how'd everybody's day go? It was very hot today.
It was.
It's going to be very hot tomorrow.
Well, that's good because I'm going to be in the air conditioning tomorrow. I'm not going to be. I was outside today in the middle of the woods using my GPS, and it was not fun.
No.
It
Does
was
your
not-
GPS work in the woods?
Oh my God, yes.
Mine doesn't really work too well in the woods.
Depends on which one you're using.
The BRX7.
Oh, that's a beast. You're not using it correctly then. You got some issues. We got to sit down and we got to talk about that. Oh, I'm getting locks. I'm getting quick locks. Not all the time. No, it's sometimes you got to pick up, you got to move, you got to sit there for a little while, and then it gets a fix. This is wetlands flags, so I'm picking up the wetlands flags. So if it takes me 5 minutes to sit there and get a fixed position, I don't care.
For a shot?
Yeah. If it takes 5 minutes in the middle of the woods and the accuracy is down to half an inch,
Yeah.
that's perfect. That's perfection, as far as I'm concerned. As far as most everybody's concerned.
5 minutes. I've never waited 5 minutes. So it floats there for 5 minutes and then it eventually takes the shot?
In the middle of the woods under solid tree cover? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, 7:35 p.m. on the clock. Here we go. 222 Weymouth Street, special permit for change of use, office space to dance studio. Notice hereby given in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 11 and 15, that a virtual remote public hearing will be held by the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals on Tuesday, April 7th. On Tuesday, April 7th. No, that was the original 7:30 p.m. on the petition submitted by Mark 222 Weymouth Street, Rockland, Mass. for a special permit pursuant to zoning bylaws 415-19, C18D, H1 Industrial Park Zoning District. Uses requiring special permit, commercial recreation facilities, dance hall 415-16C, 18D, I2 Industrial Park Zoning District. Uses requiring special permit, commercial recreation facilities, dance hall and 415-89 special permits to allow a dance studio in the existing space. The premises is known as 222 Weymouth Street, Rockland, Mass, and is in the H1 Industrial Park Hotel Overlay District, I2 Limited Industrial Zoning District. Section 415-19 and 415-16 of the zoning bylaw. Assessors reference map 8, lot 12 on the Rockland Assessors maps. The owner is 222 Weymouth Realty LLC, 125 Bowker Street, Normal, Mass. 02061. Wow. Okay. So based on the last meeting and some informal meetings that we've had with Tom Rubel, there have been some changes. There's a new applicant in play. Where is she? I see a hand waved. What is your name, ma'am?
Mackenzie Ann Finn.
Is that one name or is that a hyphenated name?
Mackenzie Ann is one word,
Gotcha.
and my last name is Finn.
Rock and roll.
I go by Kenzie.
Kenzie?
Yes.
Okay. Kenzie, talk to us. One of the problems that we had was Mr. Sarno, he does not look good in a tutu. So we
Doesn't.
don't believe that he really could explain your business any better than you could. So we really wanted to hear from you, and technically you should have been the applicant from the beginning. So talk to us. Let us know what you're planning to do, and then the board will ask you questions from there.
So we run a pre-professional dance studio, and taking the front of the building gives us a little bit more space to not get more students, but just to spread out the ones we have. So we have right now 3 studios. We have between 15 and 20 kids in them at a time. And this would give us a 4th and a little bit more common area for them to do homework and things like that in between classes.
Sounds good. That's pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty understood. The big question that we all had, that the board members had, was when it comes to occupying the building, you were only occupying a portion of the building. Now you're going to occupy the entirety of the building. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's number one. Board members, did you see the supplied floor plans, the existing and then the proposed? Did everybody see those?
Yeah.
Saw them.
Okay. All right. So everybody looked at them. Do we understand what's going on?
Yep.
Okay. So we got that taken care of. In the application, there was a parking calc done by the architect. We saw that. It was based on the parking calc, which Tom Rubel accepted. The required was 22, and Mr. Sarno, you can confirm it with me on that. There's 27 on site, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you're over the number based on the requirement, based on what was approved by Tom. So we got that. Second of all, there was a question about an evacuation route. That I believe was also in the packet. It was approved by Tom Heaney. It was specifically in there. I don't know if everybody got a chance to read every page, but it's understood.
Yeah.
Any questions on any of that? Nope. Okay. Next, there was a question about the sprinkler system. Both Toms, Heaney and Rubel, are saying that it is required because of the increase in capacity in the building. So I think everybody has seen a couple of the emails that have been going around, something about moratorium in Weymouth Street, this, that, the other thing. Here's where we stand on that. There's nothing we can do about design. That's not in our purview. If the board is so inclined to approve this special permit, we can approve this subject to a fire line connection, as approved by the water department, the fire department, Tom Rubel. We can't get into designing how it's going to happen, where it's going to connect. That's not what we do. So I'm sure everybody saw it through it. I'm sure board members, I'm sure you saw it all through the emails. There's really nothing we can do about it, but we can approve it subject to the connection. Again, as a condition, a condition of the permit.
We can make it,
So,
we could make it a condition that no occupancy until a working fire sprinkler system is approved by all town boards and committees.
something along those lines. That's basically what I was saying.
Hmm.
Saying it's not,
Yep.
it's just so everybody understands what we're dealing with there. I just didn't want to get bogged down with that. Now, if there's any other questions, I'm going to open this back up to the board so we can get everything taken care of. Mr. Tanzi, you're first on my list.
I don't have any questions at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Tanzi. Mr. Baker Jr.
No, sir, not at this point.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Galley.
Yeah, I would think this is more of a question for you to clarify on the sprinkler system.
Mhm.
They'll be required to have one, but what would be like a timeline or the procedure or obstacles for them to actually have it like installed and functioning?
It has to be installed and functioning before they get occupancy.
Yeah. Okay.
That has
okay.
nothing to do with us. That's building department and fire department.
Okay.
Just to be clear, we have installed the sprinklers in the building itself.
Yep.
Where the hangup is that there's a moratorium on Weymouth Street. So we're looking at going down the sidewalk to Airport Road. And there's an easement there that we're supposed to be able to tie into. And we're literally just finding out about all of this within the last 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we're confident, everybody's confident that we'll get there. We just have to get permission to go into that easement.
Well, to tie into the private water line.
Yes, it's a private water line. That's right.
Yeah. So that's the only issue. It's just a matter of how far, where does it change from a public to a private? That's the big that's the thing that I kept looking at, but it is what it is. It's
Okay.
in the process. Like I said, subject to, condition it as,
Mm-hmm.
that's really the only way that we can really do it at this point.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. That was my hang up. I was just concerned about was it possible. So thank you. That's all I have at this time.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. Mr. Baker Senior, talk to me, sir.
I'm all set.
You all set at this point?
Yep, everything came in that we wanted.
Absolutely everything. That doesn't happen very often. So, Mr. Sarno, Kenzie, I'd like to thank you for putting that all together. That worked out very well.
Well, thank you for your patience.
Absolutely.
I do want to know though, were we respectful enough and were we gentle enough?
That was very nice. I appreciate
Oh, I
it.
hope so. I hope so. I think everybody did what they were supposed to do. Saying
Okay.
that helped.
So,
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up to the general public. Is there anybody in the general public that wants to speak in favor of this application? Hearing none, is there anybody that wants to speak opposed? Is anybody opposed to this application? 3, 4. Not hearing any. So I'm going to open this back up to board members. Is there anything that may have popped up? Any questions that you want to ask the applicant or Mr. Sano?
Nope.
None?
No.
I would
Motion to close
entertain.
the public hearing.
There it is. Motion to close the open portion of the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Oh, no, there's 3 to pick from. I'm going to pick Mr. Tanzi this time because I never pick him. So I got a motion and a second. Roll call. Mr. Tanzi?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.?
Yes.
Mr. Galley?
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.?
Yes.
Okay. So here we go. Here's my cheat sheet. Making no, hearing none. Open the door. Okay. Kenzie, the board will deliberate tonight and you're welcome to stay. You will receive a decision in the mail with a date stamp. 21 days from the date stamp on the decision, go to the town clerk's office, request a certificate of no appeal. If no one has appealed, the town clerk will give you a certification and a copy of the original decision. Take those to the registry of deeds, have them recorded. One of the conditions is always to show the building department proof of recording. So there you go.
fantastic.
We'll again, we're gonna decide tonight. So just sit back. Like I said, you can hang, you don't have to. We got one more hearing to take care of. Let me just get back to, because I closed that. There's that. There's that. And that was 7:35, 7:45. Oh, 1 minute, 7:45. It's 7:46. Here we go. 7:45, 56 to 82 Webster Street, special permit and variance for nursing home with parking and egress requirements. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Master General Law, Chapter 48, Section 11 and 15, that a virtual remote public hearing will be held by the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 at 7:55 on the petition, really, 7:55 on the petition submitted by applicant Webster Park Property LLC, care of Sullivan and Comfort PC for 56 and 82 Webster Street, Rockland, Mass. For a special permit, dimensional variance, and Section 6 finding to construct an addition to be used as a nursing home with parking access and egress compliance, all pursuant to zoning bylaw sections 415-11C4, R4 Residence Zoning District, uses requiring special permit, nursing resting homes 415-22A, 1 and 2A, building and lot regulations, parking slash access and egress requirements, and 415-24B, non-conforming uses alteration. The premises are known as 56 and 82 Webster Street, Rockland, Mass., and are located in the R4 Residential Zoning District. Assessors reference map 39, lot 230, and map 39, lot 232, respectively. The owners are Webster Park Property LLC and 82 Webster LLC, 1608 Route 88, Suite 301, Brick, New Jersey, 08724. Yeah. So let's see who is here for the applicant. I'm looking around and I see Attorney Sepulveda. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Two public hearings in a row, everyone. So appreciate
Yes.
everyone's time. Definitely a little bit different weather this time than 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
So for the record, Kayla Sepulveda, Sullivan and Comerford. I am the attorney for the applicant, Webster Park Property LLC and 82 Webster Street LLC. I'm joined this evening on Zoom with Deb Keller, the project engineer from Merrill Engineers, the project architect, Malcolm Kent. Also Dina Napolitano, who is the representative for the property owner, Webster Park and Marquee Properties, which is the big umbrella part. And then also Todd Funk, who is the administrator of Webster Park here in Rockland. So with that being said, you did a whole mouthful, Chairman Rosa. So I will try and keep it short and sweet, and then I'm going to turn it over to my friend Deb to walk you guys through the plans, unless you have a different preference.
Would it be possible to put the plan up on the screen so while you're talking, we can all so everybody can get a
Yeah.
view with that?
Yeah, Deb, can you do that?
As long as I'm okay to share?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, you should see the cover page of the site plan.
Got it.
Okay,
All
I'm
right.
gonna hop to the site, just the site layout plan, because I think that's the best one for people to look at while you're speaking.
Yeah. Is that sheet 3 or 4, Deb? Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
3.1.
Perfect. So this property is 56 and 82 Webster Street. In the aggregate, it's about 84, almost 85,000 square feet in land area, and it's in the R4 zoning district. For some history for everyone, there's been new regulations from the state that have impacted this property, specifically as it relates to bedroom counts and eliminating multiple bed count rooms. I think that there's other people that can speak more specifically to this, but I believe in reality it's reducing or eliminating triple and quad rooms. So we are asked with this addition is actually for 12 additional beds. And so we're going to go from 100 and we're proposing from 110 beds currently to 122 beds, which is a 12 bed increase. I will also note that some time ago. There was a fire at the property, and we are very happy to report that the property is being utilized and has been cleared from all of that issue. So we're really excited to be able to move forward with putting this addition on and complying with the state regs and expanding the property. And a little bit more background, back in February 5 of 2026, we did go before the planning board to receive a special permit and site plan review for the satellite parking lot, which you can see Deb's cursor talking about. So that's a little bit of history background about the property. What we're here for in terms of relief is first and foremost a special permit to allow the use as a nursing home. Obviously, this is already a nursing home, but we are expanding into a new parcel for the continued use as a nursing home. So that would be our first ask. The second is 48 Section 6, or in the alternative, a variance, however this board so interprets it. As it relates to front setback, we're currently at 21.5 and we're holding that setback. We're not increasing it anywhere. The rear setback is 14.1 at a portion of the existing building. We are not making that more non-conforming. We're holding that setback. And then the parking setback is at 0.4. And again, we are holding that setback with what we're proposed. The third item, which transparently, Mr. Rosa, I noticed that wasn't included in what you read. So if we do not hear that for reasons, that's fine. We can deal with it at a different time. And that's related to the proposed wall signage. It is on the plans. And as you all know, this is in a residential zoning district. So we have very limited sign requirements. And we have two signs that are going to be in excess of 12 square feet. They will actually be under the 24, which is allowed for business districts, but we are obviously not in a business district. And then the final ask is sort of, I guess, a bootstraps type of request of this project here. You guys aren't approving the design. You are approving us to be able to go forward with some of these nuances to go to the planning board for site plan review. And with that site plan review, they're going to evaluate parking, and we intend to utilize the offsite satellite parking lot, which has been approved in the parking calc. So we ask for a special permit or other relief that this board so is inclined to grant to allow the utilization of the offsite parking. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Deb Keller from Merrill to talk you guys through from a technical standpoint, unless you have any preliminary questions for me.
Let me go to the board. Mr. Tanzi, you got any questions for Attorney Sepulveda?
No, I don't. Not at this time.
Thank you, Greg.
Mr. Baker Jr.
I have questions, but in case they're going to be answered as part of the.
Can't hear you.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I
live.
can't hear you.
I'm
Lost
sorry.
you, Bob.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have to lean forward. I have questions, but in the event that they're going to be answered during the course of the presentation, I'll hold off for now.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Galley
No, I have no questions this time.
and Mr. Baker Sr.
I agree with Mr. Baker Jr.
Okay, and I have no questions at this point. Deb, let's
Thank
talk to us from a technical standpoint, please. Make it extremely technical.
All right, do you want me to talk about drainage?
Oh, no. Well, the only one that'll understand that is Mr. Tanzi.
Good evening, Deb Keller with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors for the record. As Kayla mentioned and briefly described, this is the site layout. I'm going to hop back quickly just to look at the existing conditions. So everybody knows this is the existing structure of rehab center with the existing current parking, where the proposed expansion will be in that location. Therefore, the purchase of the adjacent property helps us push the parking for the site into that location on that adjoining parcel. And as noted, we incorporated the view, even though it's already approved, just so that we could see the project as a whole, the satellite parking property. Again, this is our erosion controls. I'll kind of skip that through that quickly. Going again, I'm going to zoom in a little closer so we can see the addition. The main circulation for the site stays the same. We have two-way traffic coming into the main parking area. The main entrance will now be on this, I'm going to call it the side face of the addition, coming in to the new addition and tying into the existing structure. We still do have circulation coming around the back side of the building, one way coming through around the back and out through the main parking area. There is a drop off at the main entrance. We've done some minor adjustments through some informal conversations. We've dedicated an ambulance parking on the side with a separate walkway up to the center, and this brings the ambulance access more centrally located to the addition, as well as the existing structure, and the new elevator as well is in this location. As noted, this is the area where we're looking for relief with regards to pavement being very close to the rear property line. We then pull the driveway away to where we fully meet the 10-foot setback in the new parking area. In the front, in between the existing main facility and the addition, we have a outside usable area with rehab, walking ramps for rehab, some landscaping and patio areas. One of the comments when we were discussing this informally was adding some protection between Webster Street and this open area. So what we are looking to do is coordinate bollard posts within the fence design that runs from structure to structure here to protect this area, but also blend it in with the landscaping so it doesn't look like big yellow bollards along that frontscape and Webster Street. We're closing off the existing curb cuts and installing new sidewalk and curbing up to the new driveway entrance. We're identifying dumpster areas because the existing dumpsters were over in this location behind the new addition. That becomes now access area. So originally, when we were looking at the existing building, this was the original dumpster location. So we're going to go back to that location again. I believe that covers the new layout. Just for help understanding that we are working very hard to make this a very aesthetically pleasing addition. We have a robust landscaping plan focusing on this central outside area. You can see several landscaping and street trees along the frontage of Webster Street. Our drainage, I'm going to do one quick thing on drainage, is focused on a large subsurface drainage system under the parking lot with an overflow towards Webster Street as the site now pitches towards Webster Street. We have full landscaping buffer along the new portion of the parking lot in addition for the rear and the side property lines. I think in general, let's see. Briefly speaking of the signage, one sign here, this is a rendering of the entrance and the main parking area. And so this would be the one sign on this side of the building. And so as Kayla mentioned, this would be the signage on the Webster side face of the building that we'd be looking propose and whether or not requiring relief from that due to the residential zone that we're located in. I think that covers everything, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Not bad. Well done, Deb. Thank you. Board members, any questions for Deb Keller? Mr. Tanzi?
Could you show me how the path that an ambulance would take to access the facility from Webster Street?
So there's two locations, and what we had discussed was that we would do this similar to, and of course I can't remember the other facility that was referenced, that they have a call program with the fire department or emergency call in to designate two doors. So there is an ambulance drop off in this corner. So the ambulance could stop here or follow and park here. What was indicated is they did not want us to use the main entrance because it was a concern that too many people would be potentially be in that area at the same time a call came in. So they did not want to have to pull into this drop-off area. So we have a designated spot here. They can back out and leave the site through the parking lot. So I believe this drop off here is more for when intake and Kayla, I think that's right, correct? That this was more for non-emergency drop-offs for ambulances. This one would be for more emergency calls.
I believe that's correct, and we do have Todd, if we have a specific question as it relates to operations, I think he can chime in to that. Sorry to put you on the spot, Todd. I think he's on mute.
Does that answer the question, Mr. Tanzi, at this point?
Yeah, just that access that currently exists now too. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is it for an ambulance as well right now, or is it just circulation or?
It's ambulances as well right now, because it does come up around. They can also come in from the Webster Street and pull in, or they come around back. It's either way.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Tanzi. Mr. Baker Jr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe council mentioned that there'll be a total of 12 beds.
Stay close to the
Okay,
microphone.
thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring the microphone closer to me.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh.
Okay. So I believe council said there was going to be a 12-bed increase based on the new design.
I apologize. I heard, I believe council and then an increase based on the design. I'm sorry.
An increase of 12 beds.
Correct. It's an increase of 12 beds because we're eliminating some of the multiple bunked rooms. State regulations are not allowing us to have those rooms and utilize them as such. So right now, we don't really operate, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, at really 110 beds because we can't. We don't have the rooms to operate at that. So that's why we need to create these new rooms to really only add 12 beds. I know it seems silly, but it's just the way that the new regs are, likely, I think, as a result of maybe the pandemic and them not wanting more people in rooms in congregate facilities, if possible. So.
Okay. And if you know, will there be a corresponding increase in staff based on the increase in beds?
I do not believe there is intended to be any instrumental increase in staff. I think we projected the staff based on the beds. I think that Deb's calculation is based on the information that the applicant has provided us as to how many staff they intend to have based upon the bed count.
Okay, and what is that number, if you know?
Can't hear you.
I apologize.
What is that number, if you know?
So we have parking calc table. I zoomed into it so you could see it. So we have there, the requirement is 1 parking space per 4 beds. So we have the 122 beds. You'd require 31 parking spaces. And then we looked at employee, 1 space per 2 employees. And what we looked at was the max number of employees overlapping between 2 shifts so that we accounted for the transition. So that overlap totals 56 employees, which would result in 28 parking spaces. So the requirement is 59 parking spaces total. The existing currently had 53. We're proposing 61, which includes the satellite across the street, which has a total of 19. And there are 42 directly on this site.
All right. What are the plans for safety measures for people crossing back and forth between the main site and the satellite lot?
So within the satellite design, site plan design, we went through with the planning board and we have actually flashing pedestrian signage and a crosswalk proposed for that specific crossing.
And the flashing signage is use activated or is it steady?
I don't know, but I more than happy. It's on our site satellite plans, but I can look that up while we're talking and get back to you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Rob, if I may, the newer ones are motion.
Right, that's what I meant by use
Activated,
activated, but I've seen some that stay on all the time, which essentially makes them meaningless because if people think they're always on, they never know when.
I don't
70
believe that that's the case, Deb. I believe that there's a push button there.
Okay.
If I recollect from the site plan and special permit, there was a button detail as on one of your sheets.
Thank you. I'll keep looking just to clarify that and confirm.
You've answered the question. You don't need to look any
Thank you.
Okay.
here. Do you know, does anybody know if the house that's being raised has any historical protected status?
This home located at 82 is the
82,
question.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason I ask, I seem to recall at some point it had a plaque signifying the year it was built, but and then I think there's a milepost marker in the backyard. A granite post.
In the backyard. I see corner property posts, but I don't see any concrete
this must be
posts
almost like
located.
a small granite obelisk with mileage to someplace. I understand at one point it was a coach route.
Coach route. That did not come up in our research, but we can double check that. I don't know if Kayla, you have any.
I don't have any insight as it relates to that, Mr. Baker, but of course, if there is some type of historic significance, we would get approval to raise the house. So
I'm sorry.
I'm not aware of that. But if that is to be the case, then we would ensure that we get approval from historic to raise the house.
Thank you. I don't believe I have anything further for now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Baker Jr. Mr. Galley, you're up next, sir.
I'm sorry. I just wasn't sure about, and I know it's not the biggest factor in this, but the signs,
Sure.
how they're outside the normal bylaws. Like I know you mentioned them, but I was just trying to, follow. And, yeah, just
Mr. Galley.
What the relief was looking for the signs, because I thought you said they might have been within the sign permit, but I wasn't sure if they were outside the height allowance.
So No, the issue is as it relates to the square footage of the signs within a residential district, you're only allowed 12 square foot signs.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a commercial building, so 12 square feet of signage is really not sufficient.
Mhm.
And so those two signs that you can see right now in the rendering that Deb is showing
Yeah. Yeah.
go beyond the 12 square feet. There are two additional signs that you can kind of see in the carport that are wall
Yep.
signs.
Yeah.
Those are compliant with the 12 square feet as they're proposed. But those two that are on the street, for a lack of better words,
Yeah.
they are non-compliant. Your zoning bylaw does allow up to 24 square feet for in a business district, but we're
Yeah.
obviously not in a business district. So we're not outside of something that's permissible, just not permissible in this zoning district, unfortunately.
I think I don't remember if I didn't see it. Is that sign that's facing Webster Street? Is that like self-illuminated, or is it got a light on it, or is it just it's just going to be visible by ambient light?
So just if I've highlighted the detail,
Okay.
the wall detail for this one facing, so it looks like it is going to be illuminated. A face logo
Yeah.
is what they're proposing currently.
Okay. And I'm not usually worried about this, but do we know like what kind of brightness it is?
At this point, it doesn't matter because we
Doesn't
can't
Yeah,
even
I'm
talk
not
about
sure.
it.
And
We can't
I
even
mean,
talk
we-
about it because it was never advertised. So this is
Yeah,
going to turn
that's
into
what-
another. That's going to turn into another application.
Okay, because I know it was
That's fine.
mentioned. It was mentioned in the application, so I wasn't sure how deep we go into it.
It
So
wasn't
all right,
advertised.
so the sign is a moot point at this time. Then.
At this point, it kind of is.
Okay, good. All right, because I will stop after I say this. I had the impression that it was outside this application, but it had been mentioned in the application, so then I wasn't sure what the boundary for the conversation was. So I will stop asking about the signs right now, and that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Unfortunately, it has to go by it has to go by the advertising.
Right. Yeah,
Not
I
just
understand.
not
Like I
just
said, it was mentioned, but the actual
Yeah.
relief wasn't described, so
Right.
I was not sure what the boundary was for conversation. So
No, understood.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
understood.
Right. Thank
Deb.
you. That's what I have for now.
It-
Thank you.
Deb, on sheet C 3.1 from
Yes.
planning, it shows that you have the push button.
Oh,
Um,
on the
as it
satellite plan
relates-
set.
Correct, yeah.
Great, thank you for
So-
researching that. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'm a little relentless.
Respect.
Okay, Mr. Galley, you're all set. Yes,
Yes, I am. Thank you. That's all I
Mr.
have
Baker
next.
Senior, you're next.
The delivery trucks now come in on that access driveway,
In through here, yes.
no, over here, over towards the property line, don't they?
Oh,
I-
currently they drive around, and I believe the dumpsters are in this location here. That's what these two little boxes are that I'm kind of circling around now,
Yeah.
are the dumpster locations. So they circulate around the building, come here, access, and then basically drive through the parking lot to exit. But since we're proposing a driveway here, we needed to relocate those. So we put them back to the original location of which when they built this first edition, this was the original location for dumpsters. We have looked at circulation because with Todd on site to make sure that all vehicles needing deliveries and dumpster pickup can make the turns and get into this driveway.
So they'll deliver food and all the other necessities for at the new dumpster site?
That's correct. There'll be access into the building on this sidewall.
Mm-hmm.
So that,
Because I've seen trucks back up the access road that there's now, driveway,
mhm.
and block it. Making a delivery on the side of this, there's a door over here somewhere in that area that for deliveries. or there was.
I would defer to Todd as to what they do at the site if.
I'm not trying to dismiss your concern, but when we go to planning board, they can put any conditions they so see fit as it relates to the site plan. And so I think that to some extent that is somewhat outside of the ask of this evening. Todd is welcome to answer it. I just think that we might be going down a rabbit hole about things that are not necessarily specific to what is before you guys this evening.
And this whole new building is gonna be 3 stories?
That is correct.
Again, it's gonna go through site plan review from the planning board.
I understand that, but you're only gonna have 22 rooms in there for beds, or is it gonna be double beds?
We have our project architect on this call this evening. I don't know that, again, I think this is a planning board question, respectfully, but he can answer the question as to how many rooms are going to be in the addition. But in the aggregate, the total bedroom count that's being added is 12 beds.
I'm Malcolm Kent, and just to answer your question, the new wing will have 40 single beds, and then we are de-densifying, as Kayla said earlier, where the triples and quadruples in the existing building will be turned into singles and doubles. So that's why there'll be less in the existing building than they are now. 40 total in the new addition.
I have nothing else.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker Senior. I'm good at this point. I can wait. Who's next on the team? Does anybody else in the team want to speak about this application? We've kind of answered everything, I think. If nobody on the team wants to speak at this point, I'm going to go to Kayla one time. I just want to make my written list of all the different asks. So keeping the site plan up, we know that there's a dimensional variance for the paving in the back.
Correct, the parking setback, yep.
Paving back. Parking setback. Is there any other dimensional variances that we're talking about?
2, the rear of the building further down, it's at 14.1 feet off the property line.
That's
It's
existing.
existing. Yep.
So
So is
does-
that parking setback, Mr. Chairman. So
Exactly, but
I don't
it
know.
doesn't-
I understand we're expanding this to now an additional
Yeah.
site, so that's why I put it as a 48 section 6 or in the alternative of variance, because I think either one this board is authorized to grant. It's just for sort of from a technical standpoint what they feel most comfortable with.
That's absolutely understood. I think that we can leave that up to the board at the
That's
end
fine.
of the.
And then, Mr. Chairman, the other dimensional relief is from the front. It's at 21.5. Deb's showing you that dimension. I know you're writing, sorry.
No, that's fine. So 21.5, that's existing.
Correct.
Yes.
And then you're holding that on the. Actually, you're at 20.
No,
You're at 20.
We're meeting the whole addition
Yeah.
complies with setbacks.
Yep.
Everything that we're doing in terms of from a dimensional standpoint is compliant. The parking setbacks on the new site, there's the 10-foot buffer.
Yep.
And then the new building is obviously setback enough.
That seems to work. Do you need a 50-foot on the back of the new addition? Oh no, you already got that. No, you're good.
It, yeah.
No, you're good. So
So-
dimensional variance, the only thing we're looking at is the paving.
Yeah, arguably,
Or
yes.
potentially, or section 6 finding.
Yes, correct,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
So we got
And I think that the first low-hanging fruit, if I will, is for the use, the special permit for the use as the nursing home.
Yep. So that's a special permit. And what else?
And-
We'll go back
and
into what
then- I had two other items, Mr. Chairman. So,
Okay.
one being the signage, which we discussed was not properly advertised for. So, I will speak with your administrator and we can figure out how we move forward with that.
That's fine.
And then the last one was a special permit or other relief that this board so wants to grant to allow us to utilize the off-site parking lot for purposes of parking calculations at site plan review.
Now, I
There's
had a
no
question.
section of the bylaw. It's under, I think that the intent of the bylaw when
Yeah.
creating the overlay district was that these parking lots would support commercial uses that were on obviously separate lots because they would be on opposite sides of the road. But maybe there's a condition or some level of relief to allow us to utilize that parking lot.
All right. I remember at the first meeting that we had, we talked about this and it was agreed that the intention was to allow the required amount to be between the two. So we can and I hear where you're going with that and I understand why.
Yep.
So 3 would be relief on across the street parking. Parking. So we can look at that. What else?
That was all I had because as I said, the signage was not properly advertised for, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So again, if there's somebody else within the on your team that wants to speak and talk about the proposal, talk about the new addition parking. On the other side, I look at my board members. Board members, what other questions popped up while we've been thinking about this? While we've heard stuff.
Are we gonna need any variances for setback in the parking lot?
Not in the newly proposed parking lot on the new property, but there is relief that's being sought on the existing site. But it is already there, but because we're doing work, we asked for a finding or in the alternative a variance.
Yeah, that was it's either a variance or it's a section 6 finding, however we look at it. It was advertised appropriately for both, depending on how we feel necessary. So there's that. What else we got? Board members.
Mr.
No.
Chairman,
Mr. Baker Jr.
does fire apparatus have access to both sides, front and back of the building?
Yes.
Tom Heaney was very, very, very adamant about all this, and that's part of the reason why they need some sort of relief on the paving in the back, because Tom required that, absolutely required 360 degrees around the building. So
yeah, I'll note, I know it was in you guys' package. There was a special permit for a previous addition for the property in 2014 that the fire chief at that time opined the same thing, that, you guys basically held your feet to the fire to grant the relief because he needed access to the facility.
and that's why it's like half a foot off the rear property line to begin with.
Correct.
Thank you.
Whoa, what was that?
That was Dina.
Ooh, who's that? Sounds like an alien. What's going on here? Well, either way, anybody else? That was Mr. Baker Jr., Steve, Mr. Baker Sr. Do you guys got any questions at this point?
No, I do not.
All right, I
Mr.
appreciate
Chairman?
that. Who is
I had
speaking,
one.
please?
Rob, if I may. Excuse
Can
me.
you hear me?
First, you got Deb. Can I get you to take the plan down so I can see who we're talking to?
It's
Sure,
Dina
absolutely.
This is
Napolitano.
the applicant's representative, Dina Napolitano.
Oh, Dina, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, but I have an echo and I don't know why.
Do you have multiple? Yes, yeah, you have two. You have two things going. You have I see two names going. You can't have two. That's part of the problem.
Okay.
Are you using two devices?
No.
For some reason you have a second one up here.
Can you,
So
as the host, kick her other one off?
that's what I think I'm going to try and do here. Remove, don't report. All right.
Should be
Talk
better
to me.
now, Dina.
Okay,
Technical issues. Sorry.
thank you. It was almost like that GPS you were talking about before.
Sorry about that. What can
That's okay.
what can we do for you?
Okay, well, first of all, I would just like to thank you, Mr. Chairman, and all of the board for meeting us tonight. And I'm happy that my professional team is here as well. I just wanted to clarify one thing for the board and anyone else that may be viewing tonight, that it's not just the Webster Park facility that has the restriction of the 3 and 4 bedded rooms. That is a Massachusetts state issue, and it's required now for all nursing homes in Massachusetts to no longer have 3 and 4 bedded rooms in their facilities. So I just wanted to clarify that it is for all of them, which is, creating a hardship on all of these nursing homes. Additionally, I just wanted to mention that Marquee, the operators of Webster Park, they own and operate over 100 skilled nursing homes on the East Coast. That may be good or scary, or a positive thing for everyone. It could go both ways. I, as a professional in the industry, have worked for this group and another at another time. I wanted to let you know that we purchase, own, and operate, and we do not sell them off, which is unique to our organization. And we put our money into the value and the residents of the facility, to make it a better place for them. The owners of this organization both got into this for personal reasons, for their own loved ones, and it reflects in what they do to their facilities. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about us, clarify the situation that those bedded, we are adding more single beds and providing more common area, beautiful common area, and a great extensive physical therapy area, both indoor and outdoor, for the residents of this home. And that
Thank you,
was all I
Dina.
wanted to say, but thank you.
Thank you, Dina. All right. So one question that I feel like Mr. Baker Jr. was asking, but I don't know if we got the right answer to it. How many employees are in the building right now? Currently, right now?
Currently, right now, I'm not 100%, but I know that I had asked and went to all the powers that be to get a staff report, and it's been a minute. But the overlapping is what we went with. The absolute most that we would have, given the increase in bed amount, is what is reflective in the plans there.
Oh, that's understood. That's absolutely understood. But again, trying to figure out how many are actually employed right now, and will there be any new hires in order to accommodate? Is that going to happen?
There might be some. Todd could probably speak to that better than I can. And if anything, it's just going to be a matter of, some of it's going to be rearranging the staff.
Oh, rearranging and balancing. No, I understand that. But I think there was a question as to what do you got right now versus what are you going to have once everything is all rearranged and stuff like that. And is there going to be a technical increase? Todd, is that something you could answer?
I can go ahead and jump in.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Todd.
if you can answer that question, that would be great.
Because with 12 residents, we're not adding an extra activity person. We're not adding extra dietary personnel, laundry, housekeeping. It's only 12 residents. So what ends up happening is we probably will have 1 to 1.5 aides per shift extra. Licensed staff won't change. It is such a small number that we're already there. We're already So there's the adding site parking, there's not that much of an increased footprint by any means.
Gotcha. That makes sense, and the explanation of balancing that makes even more sense. So
Correct.
I appreciate that. Wasn't trying to put more words in your mouth, Mr. Baker Jr., but it felt like you were trying to get to a number rather than what the final one was.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Not a problem, sir.
Question based on your question.
Oh, please speak up.
Yeah, and this is directed to Mr. Funk. You've described the impact, as slight as it may be, on the increase in the number of beds from 12 beds. Is the reconfiguration and the elimination of the 3 and 4 bedrooms to no more than 2 going to cause any increase in staff?
I'm not, let me turn off my AC because I can't hear you.
I think Adina might be able to speak to this too. I think the question is sort of from a regulation standpoint. When
I'm
Todd,
asking for an actual people.
yeah, so have you already had to, I think the question too is, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but have we already had to eliminate the 3 and 4 bedded rooms?
No.
Not yet.
No,
Okay.
we have not.
Okay.
Okay.
So again, getting back to my question, Mr. Funk, does or will the reconfiguration to 2 bedrooms and the elimination of the 3 and 4, to the best of your knowledge, result in any staffing increase?
Very, very minute. That's what I was trying to say to Rob. We're talking 12 residents. Just because there's not 4 and 3 people in a room doesn't require extra staff or less staff. Could we still staff to the amount of residents that are in the facility, period?
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. At this point, if there's no major questions from the board, I'd like to open this up to the general public. Is there anybody in the general public that wants to speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody that wants to speak opposed to this application?
Rob, I would. This is Jack Egan. I'm one of the neighbors.
Hi, how you doing, Jack?
Good. The nursing home really has not been, in my opinion, a good neighbor. Okay, we've had issues over the years, and it's been very difficult working with them to get things corrected. Recently, and Todd is working on this, we had an issue where the heater units in the new part of the building were creating quite a bit of noise at night. It's like a groaning engine, and it's several times during the night. Now, today it won't be there because it's 90 degrees, and I'm sure they don't have the heat on. But it's been pretty regular. I talked to Tom Ritter about it. He's gone down and talked to them a couple of times. I've talked to him a couple of times. Now, hopefully Todd can get that resolved so that noise goes away.
You want me to speak
Also,
oh, okay.
If you want to, Todd, what I can say is if you want to make like a small list, we can attack it as they come up. You know what I mean? After Mr. Egan finishes talking, if we want to, just hit him one at a time.
Let me continue.
Yep.
Over the years, there was a hole in front of that building, and we asked them to cover it because people might fall in it. They refused. I couldn't even get the town to get them to cover it. I did see 3 kids go in. One kid jumped in, the other 2 fell in. One came up holding his shin, so hopefully he wasn't hurt. But it's just the attitude. We've had a continually problem with the staff or visitors parking on the sidewalk, which forces the residents to walk on the street. And that's not a good thing, but they refuse to correct it. It continues on. We've had between 20 and 25 cars that are visiting the nursing home parked in the street. We have a major street issue, as I think everybody's aware of, with the emergency vehicles trying to get through there. That's quite a bit. So they need a lot more parking, in my opinion, than what they're indicating. And, initially they said there was only a 12-bed increase, but now they're increasing the facility quite a bit. And they're saying they have to go from 3 to 4 down to 2. Is that going to stick? or if they get leeway, are they going to put 3 and 4 in the whole facility? That's a question I still have on that. Delivery vehicles, we've had delivery vehicles pull up in front of the house that's up by the post office next door, which is 46, I think it is, the address. And typically, they should be pulling into their lot to deliver. They don't go around the building. They go into the first parking lot, which is next to the, closest to the telephone company. And the other day, matter of fact, the EMS unit from Hanover pulled in. I guess they were on a call because the fire engine was there. They couldn't pull in. They had to go in the exit, which is next to the door closest to the telephone company. So I hear what they're saying. I just know from my experience, it doesn't match up. Okay? They haven't been that reasonable, in my opinion. They're not that responsive to the needs of the overall community. And I sent a letter, which you guys have a copy of, and I believe you gave it to Todd, or forwarded it to Todd or someone in their facility, which details even more information. So, in my opinion, I'm not for this. I think it's going to cause more problems in the neighborhood. I see more traffic issues. And I hear what they're saying, but my experience doesn't match up with what they're saying the facility is right now. And I'll leave it at that.
All right, Jack, I appreciate that. Todd, you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Can I respond preliminarily?
Oh, please, Todd, let's give Kayla a little bit of leeway here.
So, Jack, I really appreciate you taking the time to write a letter to the board and express concerns because, like I always say to people don't know what the issue is if you don't tell them. So, I do appreciate that. I do also, like I did with some other people this evening, want to just say that your concerns as it relates to traffic, parking, things like that are not actually in the jurisdiction of this board this evening. While they can talk about them and ask questions in order to issue their findings, those are planning board issues which we will be before and you will get notice of, and we would be happy to discuss your concerns at that level as well. And then as it relates to the sound, and I know you working with Todd, I think he can respond preliminarily about that. But I do appreciate your concerns. I understand that some of them are not even in your letter, didn't even seem to be targeted to us. I know the post office is a bear, Jack. It presents its own issues on Webster Street that are not attributable to Webster Park, but get tacked to Webster Park. Of people going to the post office and refusing to park in the post office parking lot. So they're not falling on deaf ears. And we will do everything we can to be a good neighbor. Like Dina said, we're not going anywhere. This is the business and an owner that is going to continue to operate this until, I guess, nursing homes cease to exist, which would mean we would cease to exist. So, like I said, I think Todd can speak to some of the operational items, but I do think that a lot of your concerns are things that we can talk about at planning board, or even to be perfectly transparent, Jack, you're welcome to reach out to my office and we can schedule a meeting with the administrator to hear your concerns and address them as best we can prior to filing with the planning board. I would be happy to be a bridge in that. So we truly do want to be a good neighbor. And I think Todd can probably speak to his work to try and alleviate some of your concerns. So not trying to diminish your concerns at all. I appreciate you bringing them to light. I just think that there may be for a different board, not for this one. Todd, if you want to talk to just from a programmatic standpoint, I know you've been working with Jack to some extent.
Yeah, I'll just jump on a couple quick points and keep them quick. Jack did come down and speak to me and the maintenance staff. And on the new side of the building, there's 3 boilers and 2 combustion pumps had an excessive vibration. So those pumps have already been purchased. They were supposed to be in today. They will be installed this week, and that will eliminate the noise. As far as EMS pulls in wherever EMS wishes to pull in, the first driveway, the second driveway, going around the back. It's the same with deliveries. You never know where they're going to go. But I just wanted to say one other thing. It was brought up, I think, Jack, you mentioned would we go back to 3 to 4 bedrooms? Did I hear that correctly? Because the law is not going to allow that to happen. That's gone by, and that's why we're making these changes going forward to be 1 and 2 beds, period. And we wouldn't be increasing on top of the extra 12. We're reducing 3s and 4s, just adding some privates, adding 12 total as what was stated. But we could never go back and add more beds again on top of that with this plan.
And Jack, just to clarify that is a licensure mandated. So we cannot put in any more that are on that license in the facility ever.
Is that a state or federal law?
That is federal CMS beds.
CMS.
Okay.
State mandates, how many can go in the room, that kind of thing. There are other states that most of them are getting away from it now. There are other states, and then I hate to take up everyone's time to give an educational, but most of them are getting rid of the 3 and 4. Just like our kids these days, everybody has to have their own TV in their own private bedroom. Well, as we're all aging, the demand for privacy and single bedrooms and bathrooms is becoming the norm. So. I hope that clarifies something for you.
What was that?
I said, I hope that clarifies that a little bit for you. And, as Kayla had mentioned, we will absolutely, set up a call or a conference or meeting to discuss any issues you have. Just like with the HVAC, we want to rectify those situations.
Interesting. Okay.
Todd,
That
Jack
sounds
has
like
your
it takes
number,
care of
right?
everything. That sounds like it takes care of everything.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So we got Jack. He's all set at this point. Other than that, board members, anything else pop up?
Nope.
Nope. No other questions? No other issues?
Nope.
Okay. Let's see. From me, any adjustments to the open hours? And you guys are 24 hours, aren't you? All right.
Yes.
So
Correct.
Yes,
There's
we
people
are.
there at all times, Rob.
Yeah. So we're not worried about hours of operation.
No.
That's really about it. It's all that's as far as I can see, that's about it. I would entertain a motion to close the open portion of the public hearing.
So moved.
I got a motion. Do I got a second?
Second.
I got a second on Mr. Galley. Roll call. Mr. Tanzi?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.?
Yes.
Mr. Galley?
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.?
Yes.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get to my cheat sheet here. I still can't remember all this. Hearing none. Board will Kayla, the board will deliberate tonight, and you are welcome to stay. You will receive a decision in the mail with a date stamp, 21 days from the date stamp on the decision. Go to the town clerk's office, request a certificate of no appeal, and if no one has appealed, the town clerk will give you a certification and a copy of the original decision. Take those to the registry of deeds and have them recorded. One of the conditions is always to show the building department proof of recording. All right, so there's that. Let me get rid of that so I don't have to look at that. So you could do. All right. So technically next we have the rules of procedure. We can bump that till after we talk about these 2 applications in front of us. I would entertain a motion to discuss the rules of procedure after we deal with the deliberation.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We got a second?
Second.
I got a second, Mr. Galley. Mr. Tanzi?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.?
Yes.
Mr. Galley?
Yes.
Mr. Baker Senior?
Yes.
Deliberate. All right, so we're on 222 Weymouth Street. Any
Pretty
issues?
straightforward. No, pretty straightforward, I thought.
At this point, they answered all of our questions. It took a little bit, but I don't really see any issues there. Again, I know there's a question or an issue or a concern about how they're going to connect the sprinkler system. It doesn't matter.
It's not our purview.
Exactly. It's required. So, if there's a condition, if any conditions are required, that's definitely the first one. Sprinkler connection, subject to a sprinkler connection or an approved sprinkler connection by the building department, water department, fire department. Something along those lines. Hours of operation, I think we dealt with at the last one, at the last hearing. Arlana, do you have any of the info from the last hearing?
As far as
Mr. Sarno gave us the hours of operation and stuff like that.
yes, that's in the meeting minutes actually.
All right, so we have so we can pull that. So
Yep.
when you get a chance, we can pull that out and we can make that a condition. What else you want to talk about, guys? Mr. Baker Senior, you're always vocal on this one, and you actually got most of your questions answered right off the bat with the spread, with the
sprinkler
evacuation route. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, they did an excellent job getting that.
So,
and the explanation from the fire department was very enlightening on what they actually have to do to have a evacuation route, the sprinkler system, and the training that they have to do, put these people through.
So you hit a home run on that by bringing that up. Thank you.
Yes, that was my biggest concern because of a lot of young kids. And you know how they panic when there's a smoke.
Of course. What else do we got for commission for conditions? It's assuming that we would approve with conditions. I know the hours. They've already given us we don't have to condition the number of employees.
Any of that.
Parking's already taken care of. Standard conditions. I know we have a ton of standard conditions. Have to apply, have to abide by all the
rules and
regulations of other boards and commissions and committees, blah blah. We have that. Proof of recording. You have to record it.
21-day appeal.
Right. Yep. Yep. Anything else? Anything out of the ordinary we want to do? Any and all signs have to. Any and all proposed signs will have to meet the current bylaw.
We were concerned before about how many occupants there would be at one time, in case there was some sort of kind of like a recital type thing. I don't know if that's still a factor. Is something we have to just mention.
Technically, we've got an occupancy.
Okay.
We've got a parking load based on the occupancy, and yet again, I've said this a million times. The parking requirements based on the zoning bylaw in this town are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And unfortunately, they are meeting the bylaw. We can't ask them to meet it. We can't ask them to go any further than that. That's the problem. So they've actually exceeded the bylaw. So the only thing I can really say is at this point, no street parking. You know, we can say no street parking. The thing is that it's Weymouth Street. It's a main road. Nobody's going to be parking on that road anyway. I know that people are probably going to end up, if it's a nighttime thing, if it's a recital or something like that, if that is the case, they'll probably park across the street. There's
But-
nothing we can do to stop that.
She indicated that she would have most of their recitals are in a auditorium type,
Exactly.
a high school gym or conference room or something like that.
Yeah, saying I don't
They're not
see it
set up
being an
for
issue.
having bleachers and chairs and everything for the
No.
parents and that.
But I
Yeah.
guarantee there's going to be opportunity for parents to stick around. This is not
Yeah.
just drop your kids off, go go have a drink over it. Where was he? Where was he saying? What's the restaurant over there?
Players.
So this is not. It's not always going to be the case. They're definitely going to. They didn't. I think parents are probably definitely going to be kicking around. But again, we can't make them. We can't force them to have more parking than what the bylaw requires. So
it would be a moot point to say cannot exceed occupancy limits. That would be redundant.
that literally, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, okay, good.
unfortunately,
Then we're safe there. Okay.
That would be enforced by the fire chief too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
good. Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, we don't want double enforcement, and I don't want to be redundant. So, I just know it was a topic last time. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So hearing all that, and knowing that we're kind of not bringing anything else up, I would entertain a motion to approve
So
with
moved.
conditions. I got a so moved with conditions. Do I got a second?
Second.
Oh, I got a second. A Baker sandwich. Mr. Tanzi, roll call.
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Galley,
yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.
Yes.
That's one. All right. This next one may take a few. Does anybody want to take a 5 minute? Anybody?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes? All right. 5 minute break.
All right.
All right, where's Mr. Tansy? Did he fall in? I did text Greg, just so everybody knows. There he is.
I'm here.
Okay. So, just as a recap, we could probably take him in like a 1, 2, 3 situation. 3 being the special permit for the overall use. Signage we can't talk about. So, first thing is that paving in the back. So everybody understands what's going on there. They're connecting into an existing piece of paving that's already like half a foot off. So it's, do you need an actual variance for it? And if we're looking at it and saying that starting at the 10-foot buffer and just diagonally connecting into the existing paving that's already there, I think we can get away with a special permit. I think we can get, not a special permit, but a section
Finding.
6.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not getting any more non-conforming than it already is. So if we can do it with a special permit with the finding, section 6 finding, I think it's better for us. So I would open that up to the board. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm fine with the finding special permit.
Anybody else?
Logical.
It's just I'm trying to go with the ease. There's too many things that we have to take into consideration to grant an actual variance. But a section 6 finding, I think we're good there. Again, it already exists. We're not connecting into something that doesn't exist. So
Yeah, it's not being made, significantly more detrimental.
exactly. Exactly.
That's the standard of a finding special
Mhm.
permit, right? So that's pretty cut and dry in my vantage point.
All right. So hearing that, I would entertain a motion to find the request for a variance for that parking be held as moot.
Yeah. So moved.
I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I got a second. Roll call, Mr. Tansy.
Yes.
Myself is a yes, Mr. Baker Jr.
Unmute yourself.
On mute.
Sorry. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Mr. Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.
Yes.
All right. I would then entertain a motion to find that the applicant has satisfied the requirements for a section 6 finding and shall receive that finding that the paving as it connects into the back of the property, does not get any more non-conforming than it already is.
So moved.
I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second,
I got a second. Roll call, Mr. Tanzi.
yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Baker Senior.
Yes.
All right, that takes care of that. Now, I personally don't necessarily feel that this is necessary, but I know where Kayla's going. I absolutely appreciate where she's going with it. There is no, and Mr. Baker Senior, you probably remember this part of the conversation at that meeting that we had with everybody, with Tom, with all the Toms. There is nothing in that bylaw that specifically says that you can use the parking on an offsite lot to satisfy the requirements of what you need on site. But the intention was to create more parking in that general area because everybody knew the parking issues when it comes right down to it. And that's why they originally bought the parking lot across the street. So is it necessary? I don't think that it is necessary because the intent is the intent, and I think I understand what the intent is. But she's looking for some sort of relief on that. And she left it open to us to figure out what relief would be required. I don't think it's a Section 6 finding. I don't think it's that. Don't believe that it's a variance. It would be its own special permit to use an off-site lot to satisfy the requirements of what you need on-site. I think that's my gut feeling. That is my gut feeling. Now, if that's open for interpretation, I would love to hear from my attorney friend on the board, Mr. Baker Jr. What are your thoughts?
If, as you say, it was the intent to allow the use, then why as a board would we go beyond that and grant relief where relief isn't necessarily needed, thereby establishing a precedent for this type of thing when other entities want to use offsite parking just in a less perhaps reasonable or justifiable means than this. I think if we don't need, if the petitioners can get what they're seeking merely by an interpretation or whatever the appropriate interpretation of the provision is, why do we need to extend that to being approved by an action of the board, which at least my understanding based on your comments, Mr. Chairman, is not necessary to begin with.
I hear you. I'm looking at it from both sides of the coin. And while I don't think it's necessary, I do hear where she's going. I hear where she's coming from when it comes down to the CYA situation. That's what I'm looking at. Steve, you're raising your hand. Talk to me, sir.
So just if you can clarify it for me, the lot when they bought the second lot, it's adjoining. It'll be a single lot, and it won't have enough parking. So they're going to have a second lot, which is not part of this lot, and that's going to satisfy their parking requirement. So they're asking for permission to have inadequate parking on the lot with the nursing home because they will have a second property that is not part of a single property with the nursing home to satisfy the parking requirement. So that is my understanding. Is that correct?
100%.
Okay, good.
That's exactly what it is. Perfect.
Okay. So basically, it seems like it would be reasonable if we were to approve them to not have adequate parking on the condition that they have adequate parking like you said, within the walking distance that they have. I don't know if you need to define it as like within a certain area or just some, like say for instance, what if theoretically another applicant wanted to have parking alternately, up the road with shuttles like they do over on Weymouth Street or whatever.
Well, they can't. I don't mean to interrupt, but they can, because that's the whole Webster Street parking overlay district. That's why it was created. So
Yeah.
basically someone that's on Webster Street, that's in a residential zone, can
Yeah.
sell their house to somebody else that needs parking,
Yeah.
and they can create a parking lot.
Yeah.
So, but there was nothing in that bylaw that got written that specifically states that
Yeah.
you can use that off-site parking to satisfy your on-site requirement. That's where the CYA situation comes into play. So I don't necessarily believe that they need anything, because I know what the intent was. All right. I know what the intent was. The intent was to create more parking. And let's take the addition out. Let's take the addition out. All right. They needed more parking at before that. All right. They needed more parking. So that's the big issue. They need the parking. It's kind of along the lines of what we were talking about with Weymouth Street. There's a just in case. All right.
So really quick, what happens
Please.
if another business sets up in that area?
Mm-hmm.
They do not have adequate parking,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have another lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we approve them for not having adequate parking?
Only if they have an off-site lot that's within the Webster Street overlay district that satisfies a total number of parking spaces. And there's a safe way, and there's a safe way to access on foot that parking area.
Now, is that what they have because of the intent, or is that what they have because of the written rules?
This is where I have to look at the intent. The intent was to have more parking. Now,
The intent
does
was the intent of the bylaw, or the intent of getting the parking lot, of the applicant getting the parking lot, or the town setting up the bylaw?
No, the town didn't set up the bylaw.
Okay. Well, the governing
you have to go back.
agency,
You have to go back in time to understand how this bylaw got set up.
Yeah, I mean the governing agency that created the bylaw. I mean, was it their intent to let them have an alternate parking lot within walking distance and safe egress?
I'm going to say yes, because they were the ones that came up with the bylaw.
Yeah.
And with that, Mr. Chairman, there's nothing in that provision that says this parking, this across the street parking, can't be used to satisfy the requirement.
That's my point. That's it. Thank you. That's my exact point why I don't believe that they need any relief on this, because that was the intent in the beginning.
And with the intent and in the absence of a prohibition, I do not think we are in a position to make a declaration to the contrary.
Would you like to put that in the form of a motion?
I just want to.
Oh, please go. Yeah, Greg, please.
Reiterate. Didn't the applicant say that parking lot was already approved? Did I understand them correctly?
Well, the design of it.
The design of it.
Yep, the design of it was already approved by the planning board.
Okay.
I'm gonna expose my ignorance. I'm still not sure I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not sure I understand. I'll tell you the truth. So maybe you have to say it again.
Okay.
But what is, so let's put aside intent. What does the general hard structure of the rules say that they have to have?
You have to have the required amount of parking per the bylaw on site.
Okay.
Typically, that's what you have to do.
Okay. And then there's something in the overlay district that says you can have off-site parking.
The Webster Street parking overlay district
Yeah.
was specifically created
Yeah.
by this applicant
Yeah.
to create the ability to put parking in on a residential lot, which we don't allow.
Okay.
All right. So they brought it to town meeting. Everything was written up by the attorney.
Mm-hmm.
It got approved at town meeting. So in turn, we have this parking overlay district where you can put parking lots on a residential piece of property, which
Okay.
typically you can't do. So they knew they needed more parking to make
Mhm.
this work. All right. That's why they bought the lot across the street. So they bought the lot across the street, and lo and behold, it didn't work because, again, they needed special permits. They needed all kinds of stuff to be able to do this. And they got denied. They got denied by a previous board. That's how the bylaw got created, voted upon, and approved. So now that's where the bylaw stands. They, by the bylaw, can utilize a parking lot, a detached parking lot, an off-site parking lot.
Hmm.
But the question for me, it doesn't remain, but it is what it is. The question still kind of comes up, and it's opined by their attorney that the ability to count off-site parking towards the on-site requirement.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that specifically says that, but the intent on the whole thing says that you can do it. At least that's my interpretation. Bob Baker Jr. He also came up with way better, more eloquent words than I did to state that same thing. It's just a matter of does the board agree? And again, say it again, Bob, in the absence of prohibition.
Oh, in the absence of a prohibition and in the face of what the intent of the bylaw it was and is, I don't know that there's anything we need do.
I think it's a mute.
So is the intent stated in the preamble of the bylaw?
I'm going to tell you right now, the intent, I think, is an assumption. There is no words. That's what I'm saying. There is no words on the intent. The intent is to create available parking, to create allowable parking on a residential lot within the Webster Street parking overlay district.
And this bylaw was presented to town meeting at the behest of the current applicants.
Yep.
And it certainly was no mystery that they were doing so to get more parking for themselves.
Yep.
And I would look at it bordering on the absurd, given those circumstances, to not let them or not read the intent, as you suggest, of that provision to allow them to count that parking toward whatever requirements they have.
I absolutely
agree. If that
agree.
is the case, I think we need do nothing on that request.
Okay. What I would like to do is I would at least like to enter into the minutes or something that we all agreed on that. So that to me says it needs a motion.
I'd like to read that.
Read what?
The Webster Street overlay parking that he's citing.
Do we need to do that now?
Well, when am I going to vote on it? When do you want me to vote on it?
Let me see if I can pull that up.
Yeah. I mean, I trust everyone's judgment here, but I want to read it. I don't want to just rubber stamp the vote. So I do not want to express any disrespect for anyone's opinion on this matter.
No. That's completely and totally understood. Let's see. WAB.
I mean, the problem is I could just coast through this board by just voting with everybody so much because I know people know what they're talking about, but sometimes you disagree and sometimes I don't understand until I've read it.
Yeah, there's no. Oh, yeah.
Purpose. The purpose of this section is to provide for safe and adequate parking areas for employees and commercial uses on Webster Street. That's the first sentence.
Where is that? Can you share the
That's the
screen?
bylaw.
Can you share the screen or tell me where that is?
Yeah, it's in the bylaw.
Steve, do you not believe him?
Mr. Baker Jr., I already said that I do respect everyone's opinion. I said I want to read it myself, and I cannot visualize what he's reading to me as easily as it is for me to read the words.
All right.
So I do not know if you're just being facetious, but I do feel like you are questioning my motive there, and I really would appreciate that to be discontinued.
All right, Steve, do you see my screen?
Yeah, let me
Okay. Very first sentence.
Provide for safe and adequate parking for employees of commercial uses
On Webster Street.
Yeah.
This is a very specific overlay district
Yeah.
on Webster Street. Is this the first time you've heard of this?
I've heard the words before. I don't know if I've read this before.
That's the issue.
I've seen WSPOD, but I mean, I've never really absorbed it.
Okay.
I'm just reading it now. I'm just reading.
Rob, would it be possible for you to magnify that a little bit?
I don't know because I'm looking at it and it's huge. Hold on. Too much.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So this is 415. Okay, thank you. So that's that. All right. 415. Okay, I wish I.
So this is kind of unique. In Part D, it says for the special permit, the planning board shall be the special permit granting authority.
Which they already did.
Yeah.
All right. They already
but
did.
that wasn't like site plan review or site plan approval. It says it's a special permit.
Right. It was a part of everything. The whole thing went through the planning board. The special permit to be able to create it.
But I think I think this is significant that it's a special permit and not just a site plan approval.
Right. It's both.
Yeah, but it's also a special permit. And I think that's typically our jurisdiction.
No.
But this bylaw.
Grega, everything about this, it's all, if you read this, it all falls under site plan review. Every single aspect of this falls under site plan review. That's why it was a planning board special permit. That was the whole point. If you look under just above D, shall be parking which supports businesses within the district with the intention of removing parked vehicles from the district and make it safer for members of the public to use the public way within the WSPOD. So, where I was eventually going to go with this, if we all under motion agree that the idea behind the creation of this was to make it safer, give them more parking, and again, based on what I'm seeing as the first sentence on that, provide for safe and adequate parking. Right there. If we all agree that that's how it's supposed to be, and you can have your and within this situation, on this street, within this zone, that they can use the parking across the street to satisfy what their normal on-site requirement would be. If we all agree that that's what that means, then as long as everybody's in agreement, I'd like to get a motion on that. I'd like to everybody at least say that they agree on that.
Yeah, I
And
see that.
then-
I agree with it. I see it. I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't talk about being adjoined or across the street. It says
Yeah.
for employees of commercial uses on Webster Street. And
Mhm.
so it falls within that category, in my opinion. I think it's covered.
If everybody agrees with it, and we can put this in the form of a motion in a second, and we can all and we can all agree on this. The last thing that we got to deal with is the special permit. All right, is the actual special permit to be able to do this. And under that special permit, we can put in conditions. All right. Now, can we put in a condition that says no street parking will be allowed? Because in the end, they're redoing the sidewalks and it's going to be raised sidewalks with curbing. I think before there was no sidewalk there. So you could pull right off the pavement and park on the grass and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, if they're doing curbing,
There's sidewalk out there.
well, the sidewalk there now. And I think people are pulling up on the sidewalk and stuff like that.
Oh, definitely.
So
Yeah.
if that's the case, and again, we've done this with 40Bs, but again, I don't know if this is a planning board situation or not. I believe that under a condition, we could say that
No on-street parking.
no on-street parking, but that's also a site plan review situation where I don't think we can actually require that.
But
I would love to.
if we put that on there, and they put up signs, no on-street parking on Webster Street, then the neighbors are not gonna be able to park out on Webster Street. Or anybody
Not the
going,
case.
anybody going to the post office.
Well, no. The way we did it again, this is a planning board thing. I got to take this off. The way we did it for the 40B, which I don't think works here because we were planning board with the 40B. We said that from basically lot corner to lot corner, here's a no parking sign, here's a no parking sign. There's no street parking in front of that entire lot. So that's all that we could do with that. I don't know if we can actually make a condition for this because it's a site plan approval thing, which is not within our purview, but we know that regardless of what's happening when it comes to the requirement of, the required parking spaces and having the required number of parking spaces, again, I'm going to go on record as saying our parking bylaw is ridiculous for every single application out there. It needs to be changed. I'm sorry. When it comes to employees, nobody's carpooling. Everybody's got their own car. Nobody's Uber. Not everybody. Not in a rural situation like us. Not everybody's Ubering. Everybody's got their own car. Unless you're living with somebody else who you work with, you're not carpooling. So to have 5 employees and only need 2.5 parking spaces is ridiculous. I mean, that's the way that I look at it. But
they take into consideration visitor parking.
Yeah, that's what it means when they're looking at a number of beds. It's not the people that are staying in the bed, because the people staying in the bed aren't leaving. They don't need a car. It's the people that are coming to visit them, which, again, the requirement is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But it's no different than if you look at other towns. It's really no different. All right. I think ours are are way looser than other towns, and I think Gregor can speak on that too, because he's done parking lot designs in other communities. So, with all those words that just came out of my mouth, I'm not sure that we can actually make a condition on that, but we can make a recommendation to the planning board, because this is still going to have to go through site plan review. So in the absence of actual conditions, when it comes to what's within our purview, I think that we're going to get stuck with, in some cases, recommendations to the planning board. Again, the use, we know what the use is. They're asking for another special permit to increase the use of what they're going on right now, but yet they're holding on to, but yet they're satisfying the number of parking spaces. So we really can't make them do anything else. That's why I'm looking at it as, okay, we agree that they don't have to do anything when it comes to the parking across the road. We all agree to that. If we all agree to that, we can make a motion, second it, we all say the same thing. Or at least the majority says the same thing. From there, it sounds like the only way that we can get no street parking is to make a recommendation to the planning board. And I think street parking, no parking on the sidewalk, this, that, the other thing. I think that's the only way that we can really, really do it when it comes down to our purview. So I've spoken way too much on this. Does anybody else want to chime in here?
Yes.
I agree with you.
Steve, talk to me.
I just want to say, to rewind back to my concern, just want to let you know that in our conversation, the use of the word intent, with me not having read 415-21-4, my interpretation of everyone saying intent was that they were reading this between the lines. I'll tell you the truth, I don't think it's in between the lines. I think it's clear as day, black and white. It's face value. So I feel like the word intent threw me off, and I did not want to make a decision too quickly on the idea that we were interpreting the words. I really feel like we're taking them straight face value. That was my hesitation without having read it specifically. I mean, I glanced at this when I looked at the application, but I really wasn't thinking of that as like a major factor. But once I heard we kept saying, oh, this is the intent of it, I started to pause and go, oh, I'm not sure. I want to really understand this before I just vote yay or nay. So thank you for your patience. I know I am trying, and I mean, I am a challenge to accept, but I am very comfortable with everyone's opinion that they've expressed so far on that. That was what was hanging me up. The only thing I have to say is, like Greg said, it says special permit, the planning board grants. So if we have the authority to approve it, I can see us approving it. But if we don't have the authority to approve it, like Rob says, I could see us recommending it.
Well, it's already been approved. That's the thing.
Okay.
It's already been approved. That's all in the can at this point.
Okay.
Everything about the parking lot, the special permit, the site plan approval, all of that has already been taken care of.
So that's like a factor to approve for us. Okay. I think I understand that. Okay. Thank you.
In the end, again, I don't know if we can make this a condition, but there could be another condition that that we recommend to the planning board, that no occupancy, that the first thing that needs to be done is that this parking lot needs to be created. Because what's going to happen is that the building's going to go up. All right. They're not creating the parking lot immediately over there. It's going to be a dirt lot for a long time with contractors, the people that are already in there. I mean, there's going to be parking issues. So I'm thinking that a recommendation to the planning board would be that parking lot has to be constructed first.
And functional.
And functional. But see, here's what's the definition of functional? Final paving or binder course?
Would it be all the crosswalks?
I think on
signs.
Yeah. To answer that question, Rob, I'd go with final paving, because there's no reason.
They're not going to put construction on it.
That's fine. And again, this is only a recommendation. This is not a condition of approval.
You know what? What about this for a condition? What if we say at the property lines, a sign saying no street parking between the signs? Because
that's site plan approval. And we're not tasked with site plan approval. See, this is the problem. This is the problem with it. If under a 40B situation, we do everything. So this is where recommendations to the planning board come into play. So before we keep going, before we start going down the rabbit hole, Mr. Baker Jr., would you be willing to put together a motion that says that we don't have to that we don't have to do anything based on our discussion and of the Webster Street Parking Overlay District bylaw?
This is my first shot at it.
Please use better words than I did.
I just used too many of them.
Make sure we can hear you though.
Okay. It is unnecessary for the Zoning Board of Appeals to act on the applicant's request to count their auxiliary parking lot toward their required number of spaces, as there is no prohibition to their doing so.
I have a motion.
I'll
Can I get a
second it.
second? I got a second. Roll call, Mr. Tansey.
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.
Yes.
Mr. Galley.
Yes.
All right, now we talk about the actual use of the property. They're already using the property as a nursing home. They're already using. What they are doing is they are extending that second use, all right? Because they're this is why they're going for a whole new special permit. They're putting the parking on the other lot, which is a residential lot, which technically that special permit is only granted by the planning board. Do you see how confusing this gets? So we can't grant the only condition, the only special permit that we can grant is the use of the lot itself when it comes to the addition. The residential lot to the east, that they purchased specifically to create a parking lot, that's a special permit that's granted by the planning board, not us. So the only thing that we have to really look at is the piece of property that the existing building's on, the same piece of property that they put that first addition on is the same piece of property that they're putting the second addition on.
It doesn't work.
Does that make sense? Yes, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So, other than talking about the signage, which we really can't, when it comes right down to it, we can say at this point that any and all signs have to meet the bylaw, but they can still come back and get a modification on that and ask for variance and stuff.
We really shouldn't be talking about the signs because it's not on the.
Believe me, as a condition of approval, we could talk about it. Because we've had people come to us and ask for and not talk about signs, but we've always put it in there and said, oh yeah, they have to meet the bylaw, blah, 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 blah. Or we could not put it in there knowing that they're going to have to come to us anyway, because they've already kind of spoken to that. They kind of let the cat out of the bag.
I think that's the best course of action, particularly when we talk so much about not talking about it.
Perfect. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. So other than that, we've talked about the parking. We don't have to worry about that. The hours, it's 24 hours, so there's nothing we really have to talk about there. When it comes to the use, they're already using it. So talk to me, gentlemen. What does everybody else feel like?
Are they looking for an affirmation that we're still letting them operate the facility as a rehabilitation center and a nursing home?
Yeah, basically. But for some reason she wants and I don't understand this. She felt it cleaner to go for a second special permit,
All right, so
which I do understand.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, if you think about Forest Street, we had the property with the part industrial, part residential, and we split them in half.
Mhm.
And if they're doing this business and then they're doing it on a residential, it makes sense that they want us to acknowledge that. and
I
approve it.
I can hear that. I can agree with that. Saying other than it's again, if we are so inclined to grant this special permit, any and all conditions that we would Arlana, are you kicking around?
Yes, I am.
Do you have their previous special permit decision?
Let me look at the applications.
I don't remember seeing it, but again, I'll be the first one to say I did not look at this application 100%. Just knowing all the back and forth that we've already had over it, I kind of knew all the nuances to it. So
Couldn't we say this is an extension of their non-conforming use?
we can say that. But that's not how she applied for it. She applied for a second special permit, which I don't necessarily see the
The old building
requirement
and the
for.
new?
Say again.
It would cover the old building and the new?
I think she was going more towards the paving and stuff out in the back. But again, all I know is she asked for a second special permit. It's going to the same owners of the same building. I don't see a problem with this.
They didn't include it in their application.
They did not include it. So you don't have a copy on you?
I don't, not on me.
Well, when it comes right down to it, the only reason why I wanted to see it was, the original conditions that went with the special permit for that one. And obviously it would still be, if we granted this special permit, they would be subject to those. I'd like to see them subject to those same special permit conditions.
And any new ones that are issued?
And any new ones that we come up with today. And again, I don't know of any new ones that are really necessary. We're not talking signs. We really can't talk planning board stuff. We can't talk site design. The planning board's going to deal with parking. We've given them the section 6 for the back. What else?
I'll make a motion to approve the special permit.
I got a motion. Do I got a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Wait a second. I saw hands and I heard somebody talk. Let's try this again. Let's try this again.
Greg talked before I waved.
I don't know about that because Steve's hand went up too, and I know there's a lag on my computer. So sorry. So
that Windows 11.
Exactly. So in the end, can't talk, Kayla. We've already closed the open portion of the. I saw the message. We're going to leave it at that. I appreciate that. So I got a motion. 1, 2, 3. Second.
Now that we're going to wait.
All right, I'll second it.
See again. You tried it again. I'm giving this to Steve. Roll call. Mr. Tanzi.
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.
Yes.
Before I go to Steve, I want to make sure that everybody is clear that we're making a motion to approve the special permit, holding the same conditions from the last special permit. Okay, everybody agrees to that. Steve, what do you got?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, that's it. Who's here? Kayla, Dina. Who's IKM?
Our project architect.
Oh, project architect.
That's me. Yeah.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Malcolm Kent.
I'm sorry. All good.
Good.
All right. If anybody has any questions, feel free to call Arlana first thing in the morning. Kayla, I'm sure will speak at some point. So
Thank you.
thank you. I know it took a long time. I do apologize, but there you go. Done.
No problem. I appreciate it. Have a great night, everyone. Stay cool.
You will also.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, where are we? What are we doing? Are we doing this other thing, or are we going back home to get into the air conditioning? Because my office, if I turn my air conditioner on, it's gonna squeal like nobody's business. I put it in today, the bearings on the compressor are dead. So now I have to go buy another air conditioner. I got 3 years out of that one. The one that it's brand new. It's I consider that brand new. It's a GE 10,000 BTU. And the bearings went completely out. On the flip side of that comment, it was almost on 24 hours a day last summer. So that's where we go. So talk to me, gentlemen. What do we want to do? Do we want to look at this, or do we want to look at this, or do we want to put this off to one more meeting and only talk about this on that one meeting?
Our next meeting, we already got 3 things on it.
Okay. So
I'll make a motion that we set up a special meeting on the off day of our regular meetings, only to discuss in the zoning board's rules and regulations and policies and procedures.
that's with a whip. I like that. I got a motion. I got a second. Roll call. This is not a variance or anything, so we don't have to do a date and time specific. So, any suggestions, Alana, when it comes to date and time?
So, let's see. You want it just specifically for this?
This is a special meeting
Okay.
on our off Tuesday.
Okay.
Meaning the third, first and third, on the third Tuesday where we have nothing going on and we're putting nothing else on it.
Okay, so you have a meeting on June 16th, but it has the continued discussion for 320 Concord Street.
You said what day was that?
That is June 16th. That's the only thing so far.
What do we have on June 2nd?
16th. So that would bring you to July.
So 2nd is already taken care of. 16th as a something, and July, the first week.
July 7th?
That's July 7th. I don't think I'm going to be here. I typically take those 2 weeks off for July 4th.
Can't we set up a meeting like I just asked in between June 2nd and the 16th, just for this purpose? Because every time we have a meeting, we end up tabling this or putting it to the next meeting, and then we just put it off again.
I know. So I agree with you. I agree
Can I
with
make a
you.
suggestion? Another suggestion. So going back to June 16th, you literally have that one continued discussion for 320 Concord. You could do it right after that, and I won't put anything else on that meeting.
What do we have for June 2nd?
June 2nd, you have, let's see. A continued hearing for 161 Central Street. And then you have 0 Industrial Way, a special permit for outside storage.
Yep, that ain't happening. So if anything, I think what Bob's looking for is, if we're sticking to Tuesdays, it would be like, if we're looking in June, it would either be the 9th or the 23rd, an off week. Again, I have no life, so it doesn't matter to me.
Either one of those dates is fine with me, Rob.
Yeah, I can make whatever work. It doesn't matter. Saying if
June 9th.
if that works for everybody, I can there you go.
I have no obligations.
Everybody cool? I had a motion. I think it was Bob Baker. We're now date and time specific, June 9th, 7:30, to talk about the rules of procedure, the zoning board's rules of procedures, and that's the only thing that's going on in the meeting. So I have a motion.
I will second the motion as amended.
I got a second. Bake a sandwich. Mr. Tanzi.
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Galley.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Jr.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.
Yes.
All right, so that takes care of that. All right, so let me do this. Let me do this. Where's my this? What else we got? Rules with anything else come up? Arlana, anything new you want to divulge? Anything different anything come up out of the blue or anything?
Nothing that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Again, gentlemen, we did good tonight. Thank you. We did good.
I'm going to say something. I don't know what the intention was with the comment about me questioning the ideas, but I want you to know that I did take offense at the choice of words, whether you thought you weren't being hostile or not. I want you to know it was received with hostility, professional hostility, nonetheless. So I just want you to know if I hear something of that nature, I will address it and let you know that I did not appreciate it and I will not tolerate it. So thank you for your time.
Sounds good. Mr. Baker Jr., can you do
Yes,
me a
sir.
favor? Can
Yes.
you just say, Steve, I'm sorry? Please?
Now, don't worry about it. We're going to learn this for the next time.
I honestly, I thought he was joking. I've been in this kind of situation so many times. I knew he was joking. I knew right off the bat he was joking.
His hesitation says that he was not joking.
No, my hesitation says, do we have to explain everything that we say in these meetings?
How about
Because someone else, either through correct understanding or misunderstanding, might not like it.
How about when I stated very out loud and on the internet for the whole world to see for the rest of time that I'm admitting my ignorance of a subject and that I wanted to read the rule that we were all going to make a vote on. So I think I presented my ignorance openly, and I really do wish that was respected. The fact is that my ignorance wasn't respected. And unfortunately, Rob had told me for years, boy, it's so good that you're a layman who doesn't know everything because you can ask questions like this. So after I've been encouraged to ask questions like this for years, I'm now experiencing discouragement from asking questions.
No, dude, it's not discouragement. It's not discouragement.
Trust me, that was interpreted as discouraging. Why are you asking that question? Why don't you learn what we're talking about? I mean, or why don't you trust us?
Did I use those words? I will say this. I spoke intemperately. Okay. Is that good enough, Steve?
I need to know what the word intemperate means because I think I understand, but I am ignorant of what intemperate means, and I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
Intemperate. Temperate. Intemperate meaning. Lacking moderation of self-control. Okay. I hear you, and I understand you make no apology for it, and you should not have to. I've received your message, and I've expressed my reaction to it.
Wow, I speak intemperately all the time. Wow.
And that's why we get along so well historically.
Wow. It's all good. It's absolutely all good. In the end, I'm going to make one comment to everybody. If you don't understand our bylaw, if you don't know our bylaw, read it. Pick it up and read it. The only way that I know the bylaw, again, I don't know it 100%. I absolutely don't know it 100%. But the only reason why I know it the way that I know it is because literally I look at it all the time. And you can ask Grega when I was first coming up in this. Grega was always the vice chair. I'd always ask him questions. Very specifically, though, I was on the phone with former Chairman Manzella every day, if not twice a day, with questions. It doesn't hurt the fact, or it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt or help or whatever. I do this for a living. I have to look at zoning bylaws for every single town that I do work in. I have to look at them, know them, understand them. Greg's the same way. When he was in private practice, he had to look at bylaws for every single town that he did any kind of work in when it comes to design. So for me, it's easy. For Gregor, it's easy to understand the legalese the legalese of bylaws and stuff like that. That's an attorney. That's understood. It's one of those, if you don't know it or if you have issues understanding it or something like that, pick it up and read it. You know, that's the only thing
that's
that I can
exactly what I
understand.
tried to do, and everybody gave me a hard time about it. I said, can we read this? I'd like to read this.
Yeah,
Because I'll
but
tell you
Steve,
something, when I read the application and I looked at
Mhm.
all the things that they cited, I
Mhm.
did look at that, but I didn't absorb it, which I've
Dig it.
also stated earlier in this meeting, that I didn't absorb what that was. I mean, I looked at it, I was like, okay, fine. And then we talked about the parking and
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, good. And then all of a sudden we started talking about intent, and I got caught up on the use of the word intent.
Yep.
So yeah,
Steve?
I did read it, but I'm sorry, I didn't learn what it meant by the first reading of it or the second reading of it, because I didn't really have a context for it. So again, I'm going to end this conversation now. I'm going to ask us to end the conversation because you're not hearing me in the spirit in which I'm broaching the subject.
No, Steve, everybody's hearing you. Everybody's hearing you. But here's my point. Here's my point. You can't use the zoning board hearing schedule to learn this. You have to do this on your own. All of us have picked this up on our own time and learned, and again, not learned it, but perused it on our own time. So we're able to understand key meanings and definitions and stuff prior to even having a hearing that's going to talk about it. That's what I'm saying. Use your own use your own time to just pick up the zoning bylaw and read it. I mean, just literally just for no other reason than just to see the words, definitions, on your own time.
Yep. All right.
That's
Well, I do that occasionally, but I'm sorry. I don't absorb it the way you do, and I haven't lived it for decades like you have. So,
right, and that's why again, I find I have no issues with it. I don't think anybody else has any issues with it. Like you said, you represent the rest of this town.
yeah.
All right, the people that don't necessarily understand what they're looking at. But like I said, in order to understand it, you have to study it and you have to pick it up and you have to do it on your own time.
All right. Well, like I said, the end result of what I'm talking about is the next time you talk to me like that, I will not appreciate it and I will address it immediately. That's where I'm going with this conversation. Next time you want to dump on me, fine.
It is what it is. I'm gonna hit the end. So night, everybody.
Motion to adjourn.
I got a motion to adjourn. Where's my second?
Second.
There's a second roll call, Mr. Tanzi.
Yes.
Myself is a yes, Mr. Galley.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Jr.